You know what you're doing? Here we go. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm Darren. This is Tectonic. And if you haven't been here before, welcome. Welcome back to everybody who's been here before. And we're talking trips, bike trips, any kind of camping trips, tips, and also stories. Everything's kind of jives together. A lot of camping, bike packing, bike touring stuff here, and backpacking. But tonight, this is pretty much a short video update on David Benfer and also what you can expect here at this channel and a little bit of everything. But I also love suggestions in the comments because this is a new channel. You know, I'm kind of driving it where it needs to go, but also I'm taking it to where I'm going mainly. So I don't want to go too far in the wrong direction. Let me know, what's missing here. And but tonight it's been a really long trip. I just got off a long trip. I'm still kind of working my way through Southern California, desert, kind of almost over into Mexico soon. And I'm gonna be stalling out, editing video, fixing up the bike, maybe working on another bike, a new one, for my big trip South America, Mexico, South America. And I want to let you know, you guys, what's happening there a little bit, an outline. Hey, everything changes, right? I try not to plan out too linearly, you know, too far out. And, but there is a time where I have to have a strategy, right? And Tectonic, me, Darren, has to have a strategy for the season. You know, it's going to be fall and winter. So southbound, and that's where I love to go the most, or the Sierra, where I just finished. Anyway, a lot of stuff coming up, and there's going to be more bike stuff going on since I'm back, getting back into a recuperation mode here shortly. Still getting out in some weird areas I haven't been, close to Mexico and then into Mexico. A little back and forth too, get some dental work done, and then venture south. What's going to happen is I'm not just bike touring down, bike packing. If you know my background, I'm a climber. I've been a climber since I was a kid, and I'm 60 years old. But I'm heading down. I'll be hitting volcanoes on my way down. But ultimately, back to Colombia, where I'll go to Santa Marta on the coast, Caribbean coast side, and be going up to Pico San Cristobal. And that's going to be an interesting trip. And I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but that peak is 19,000 feet and a little bit more. And it is the closest, it's the highest mountain in the world that's close to the coast. So it's the closest mountain to the coast that high, right? You can verbalize that for me. I'm tired. I've been doing this. Anyway, but really excited about that. And I really wanted to get this video out tonight. David Benfer, let's get into that real quick. And then we can move on a little. I put the video out. Actually, I put a follow-up video out. And I've got some news, an email from a guy. He might post it in the comments. I couldn't read one of them. It wouldn't come up. But the bottom line here is on a Facebook post, somebody posted that David lost her. I don't know if it was him. Someone named David Benfer dropped an ID. But the odd part about that is somebody reported that please help, because there was another. See, I'm getting confused here, but I'll try to wrap this up and get better information. But I'm not going to make more videos about it. I'll post. We can keep a dialogue going in respect to him. Not a bunch of videos, and I've already done enough of that. Everybody knows. And the video will be out there, right? So I don't need to do any more that way. Please give me information. But the information I got in a nutshell was there was a David Benfer reported missing, and it didn't sound like him because it says he wanders off and has dementia. And so we're trying to dig in. Is that just an older person with dementia, same name, or did maybe he get hurt or something happened to him? I don't know. I'm probably reading too far into that, but let's look into that if you can help me. because I didn't have enough time. I was like, I got the email and I'm doing this video, and this isn't just about David Benfer, but I want to let you know I'm not just dropping the ball with that, and I'm also not gonna, post a bunch more missing David Benfer and stuff like that, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. Is to get views. I'm trying to help, and the views help me, sure, but I'll taper off on that, and then important stuff coming up. We'll talk about South America later because I've got a lot to do before I even, get in. I got to get the bike and everything ready. So what we'll do is we'll just talk more about stories. Somebody said, "Oh, well, I thought this was a bicycle channel," and but I ended up telling stories because I love to do that. I have a history and a pretty wild history. I think we all do, but I've a lot of stories. So I have a bank of stories: Alaska, Nepal, India, South America. So why not tell them to you? And it also kind of is fun, and it fills in the gaps in between trips, and it kind of gives you an idea who I am. And that's it. If you're new here, again, I won't go into it for all of you. There's videos about it. But I started as a mountain guide in Alaska for many years. And then I kind of transitioned to bicycle touring, and then I'm sort of a crossover between bike packing, bike touring. Obviously, you can see I'm sort of a little more like David. If you know David Benfer and you've watched the videos, a lot of you have. I carry a lot of stuff because I'm usually going a lot further out longer, and I don't send things here and there, and I'm not going back home, heading back home to the job, and the wife and the kids. I've already done that. I'm usually out for a long time. I mean, I'm like I said, it's we're looking at the horizon long, linearly. So anyway, so mountaineering, and I love the transition. The whole thing with camping and loading the bike and all that. It's just like, for me, it's natural. But the difference is I'm not with a group of people, and when I'm guiding a trip, any sort of bicycle leading trips that I've done or do is like really small group of people, or one or two people, very specialized. And it isn't because I'm some great bicycle guy. I have a well-rounded background in leading trips, organizing, logistics, and wherever I go, if for instance, I'm going to Ecuador, I'm going to Bolivia or Colombia, I know people there. So I'm not just going to take somebody there and, hey, let's go, It's a whole process, and it involves biking, hiking, trekking, and trekking some high peaks, high volcanoes, and things like that. So that's what's happening, and it's starting to get a little more for me since I stopped doing the Alaska construction thing. I'm a carpenter also, and that's how I have survived. Mountain guiding didn't make me very much money. I was a river guide, mountain guide, and all that, and that's how, I made a living doing it, but in the wintertime in Alaska, I would be a carpenter. Summertime, mountain guide, river guide, and all that. And I'm sure I have guides here. If not yet, I will. Because of the way I'm talking here, the algorithm will probably pick it up. But that was my life. Alaska, almost 38 years. So, all right, let's not carry it on too far. Yeah, in the future, I want to talk about, I wrote them down here because, I'm getting older and I can't remember all this stuff. My background, the climbing, but I want to make some videos about a couple of things coming up. And my guiding experiences in Alaska, some of the people I guided. Now, I have some wild and wacky stories about river trips, mountain trips, and the weird things people did. And I don't know if they're appropriate here. I'm going to give them a go, though. I don't have to cuss in them, or there's no, all right, we'll just move on from that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Lama, Tibetan Lama, and my daughters and my mom, everybody on this channel that knows me, knows what time I spent 6 years plus on and off when I wasn't guiding or in Alaska as a sort of an attendant and property helper, keeper of a lama named, he was 90 years old, Gayatri Rinpoche. And he was the last Nyingma master. And I'm not a Buddhist, but I learned a lot being around him and some other Tibetans. And somebody said to me one time, they go, "Oh, what do you think, you're Brad Pitt? 7 years in Tibet?" And I had to laugh, with the climbing aside. And I thought about it, and I go, no, you could name this one 6 years into debt. Because, and my family knows this, that the time I worked for the Lama and did all the construction up at the monastery, and it's not a commune, it was a Tibetan monastery, and then the home where he lived in Half Moon Bay. He lived in Half Moon Bay in the winter, and there was only me and him and a small little family that took care of him, a woman and her daughter and some attendants, usually Tibetans that filtered through, and then this other couple, Americans that were good friends of mine. So we all lived up there, a small little, what they call sangha, but family. And then I would take off, and do my thing, either go to Alaska. But I always got pulled back in there, and I didn't make any money, really. I mean, and I'd live up there and help because it's way up in the mountains. Anyway, that's going to be, I made a video about it a while back, but I need to really elaborate more on it because it was quite an experience. And wow. All right. And then, on the list, David Benfer, we're going to back off a little from that video-wise, and we're going to take, the comments and all that. Lastly here, all right, you're probably wondering, gosh, he's just got so many stories. But I do. And this next kind of a mystery story, it may not be such a mystery when it's, when I get into the story, you may figure, well, the guy, he's gone, But we're going to have to see. One of the things, sorry, while I pull up this photo, I'm old school here. It's going to get better as we get on this next trip because I have new equipment coming. But so of course I'm a Sierra guy. This is Mount Whitney behind me. This is me. Someone said, Darren, when you do that funky, background, can you stand aside from it? No, I can't really. I got to move the computer around, sort of, and me too. So I apologize. That's me, Mount Whitney. So yeah, I kind of transitioned to this, but let's go into the next guy I'm going to talk about, Johnny Waterman, John Malin Waterman. Now, if you're a climber or a reader, don't be confused. Maybe you already know with with John Waterman, the writer, who wrote Into the Wild, and which I lived on that road in Alaska, Stampede Road. Well, I make a story about that. Saw all the people going out to the bus. Anyway, out my window, they'd drive by. Anyhow, Johnny Waterman died up on Mount McKinley on a solo trip, but he was a really interesting character, quite eccentric, and he died up on the Ruth Glacier, where I've been showing you up here where I worked for a whole bunch of years. This was my office, another one. This is my friend Pat here, and we're climbing this thing behind me. And also, I climbed all these peaks around me, and Denali's in the back, and Johnny Waterman, the story with him, we're not going to tell the whole story now, but he disappeared alone on a solo trip up on that east buttress behind me here. But the story's pretty wild because he walked from Anchorage. This is a long way. Look it up. Look up John Malin Waterman, Johnny Waterman. It's more. They have more information on him than they do David Benfer. Now, oddly enough, years ago, I wanted to write a book about Johnny Waterman, and I couldn't get a bunch of information. So this David Benfer video and thing that I just did inspired me to go back to Johnny Waterman and do a video about him. I wanted to write a book. Well, I can now. I've got the YouTube channel here and this platform, and I'm going to go in depth with the stuff that I have on Johnny Waterman. But, if you're not into climbing or that kind of stuff, long stories, you might be interested in something else, but it's pretty good. If you thought David Benfer was good, this is right up there, just a little different. It's in the mountains, so we're away from biking here now, I know, but a great story. So yeah, he disappeared up there. I'll tell you where he was, up around the corner there, and actually, hey, let's fly up there. This is me. Hey, I took this picture. I was in the back seat, and I held the camera over. Hey, my kids know this. This is the truth. I swear, you guys, these are my photos. My kids are watching. So, anyway, this is me. I'm not flying the plane. This is Trent, I believe. We had 2 Trents at the company, and anyway, we're flying in. I would fly into the glacier normally with my groups. We're going to go right back behind me up in there where Johnny Waterman was last seen, right up in the Ruth Glacier, right over that pass. And I guide up there, so I wasn't, what you see here is I'm not going there to investigate Johnny Waterman. This is on a trip that I was doing, and we went up there. This is what it looks like when you land, sorry. And we landed straight up the glacier here. I'm explaining how we do this, so you know. And then the pilot, Eric, there, or Trent, whoever that is, I can't remember, is snowshoed, and I'm helping him when I'm not going to taking the picture here. I'm going to jump out and help. And we make some path up there a little bit and around, and then he can get some momentum. We love momentum at Tectonic. And then around, and then face down glacier and take off. All right, that's Glacier Flight School. But yeah, so we went up there many times. I worked there, and that's what it looks like up there. But where John Waterman was last seen, I think I have a good picture. There it is. That's me. And we're a little closer now, and it's just back up here. And the pilots saw tracks going in there. Man, I'm telling the whole story, but not really. They saw tracks going right into a crevasse field, not into a crevasse. And those are crevasses back up in there. Those are cracks in the glacier, you see. Yeah, so dangerous place to walk alone. I'm always roped up. You can see there, I'm digging the hole for the camp. It's very deep snow. And then I have my kitchen here. That's me when I was a little younger, obviously. It wasn't so... Look how good looking I was. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that story's coming up. And me and my friend Pat there summiting a peak. I got a great story here about a dog that went with us on this. The dog stayed down here at the camp below. It nice and comfortable there. Yeah, all right, let's end it there. I don't want to keep talking and bore you, but it's going to be badass, and I have a lot of stories coming up. Sorry I had to write down one page thing there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm tired. I've been biking all over the place, and now I'm kind of here. I'm sorry I'm not looking at you. I'm turning off this thing here, and now I'm resting. So in the next video, I probably won't wander and ramble so much. But yeah, another Airbnb, printer, computer, and gonna take it easy. And then I'm gonna go visit some family, and then I'm going to work on the bikes, hopefully, and get ready for the trip. All right, you guys. Talk to you soon.